book review. I hope some of you have been able to read along with us as Stacey has been uh, uh, carrying us through this wonderful, amazing book. And I hope that the Brain Maker is just a beautiful book and beautifully read and done by David Perlmutter. And Stacey, we have so much gratitude for you and all that you've been doing throughout the this series. And I know here you are, like many of us, a busy mom and a full load of working. So thank you so very much for continuing to take us through this beautiful book. And welcome.
You're welcome, Moselle. Good evening, everyone. Chapter 10 was really, really great. I will say chapter 10, which is the Brain Maker 7-day meal plan, eat your way to a healthier brain. Moselle and I had talked about this chapter in the beginning when we looked at this book. And what I do want to caution you is that the book does give you a lot of great meal plans. And however, this book does incorporate meat and it incorporates fish and dairy in the diet. So if you're on the journey where majority of us are have transitioned and we are, doing a meatless and a dairy-free diet, then you totally understand that our way of thinking. But if you are still transitioning, the plan is outlined in chapter 10 that incorporates, protein into the diet. So I'll leave it at that. So one of the things that the doctor points out in the beginning, which I love, and which is what we've been talking about the whole session this week, is about how important probiotics and prebiotics are. And I really enjoyed the sessions that we just had of the food, of showing, how to make fermented food, well, showing us about fermented foods, because this week he introduces explaining how you don't have to get made up food or made up probiotics and prebiotics. You don't have to go to the counter and purchase those. You can eat them yourselves and you can incorporate them into your diet. And so today, I don't know if it will come up, but I purchased, let me take this get this virtual background off. And that way I can show this. Let's see, maybe it will come up a little better right here. This is the sauerkraut that I picked up, and you can go in any store and pick it up. And for most of us, we probably grew up, at our grandparents' table, or even our parents may have had it at home, and so I grew up around it, but just really didn't know how important it was in our diet. And the same thing with kimchi. Dr. David points out that having those items in your diet, kimchi is a spicy fermented food with cabbage and other vegetables, and it's mainly a lot of Korean spices. And he says that if you eat a lot of Korean food or familiar with the way they eat, then you probably have already incorporated it into your diet, or either you've experienced it. He says, but having kimchi and other types of fermented foods like this introduces our palate into different spices and different flavors, which gives us a chance to enjoy things that are a little bit different from like your regular herbs, because of the spices, and and they're good for us. And so it's a way to also have foods last a long time, because if you're familiar with fermented foods, when you get them, they'll last a good amount of time. And it just depends on, I guess, I haven't made it, and I look forward to making some, but however it is, it will last a good amount of time. I especially see it on the packages here, they last a good while. But in the chapter here, he points out that it's important to get these foods in. And so what I did was I just went out there and made a little list of some fermented foods that that are good to incorporate. And so let me pull that up. So when it comes to comes to your probiotics, he says dandelion greens is good. And then he also says, of course, I just mentioned the kamichi. And then when you go down to the prebiotics, he gives us another list of things, which he says flax seeds. We're all familiar with apples, oats, leeks, onions, garlic, banana, chicory root, Jerusalem artichoke, burdock root, and konjac root. Those are some of the things that I Googled and found were really good for our diet. And so if you look at chapter 10, you'll see some good ideas here. And he also tells us how to make our own fermented foods. So it would be really good for you if you don't have the book to Google and just learn how to do it, because I think as long as we're going to be going along on this journey, we should learn to incorporate how to make some of these things in our diet, so we don't have to depend on these stores to make them. And so that's it on my week for my review of this chapter. It was really short and sweet, and it's worth read and worth keeping this book as a handbook for our future.